Greetings, my friends, fellow co-inhabitants of the planet in which we live on. I want to talk to you today about college. And don't worry, I'm not going to be like mom and dad saying, you must go to college if you want to make something of yourself. Actually, my message is going to be, I don't want to say opposite, but a little different. So it's going to be short, stick with me, it's going to be worthwhile. I got a question for you at the end that's going to engage your brain, but not in a painful way. It'll be in a pleasureful way, at least I hope. So anyway, here it goes. College is great, in my opinion, for learning a new skill or a trade, and learning is good. The problem that I have with college, the main problem that I have, is that they only teach you one type of income, and the one type of income they teach you just happens to be the worst, most unintelligent kind of income that there is. I'm talking about ordinary earned income, the kind that is the most highly taxed, the kind that ties your time to your money, thereby the kind that enslaves you the most to the dollar. And that is no way to live, in my opinion. Everything that I said, except the unintelligent thing, that was opinionated, but everything else is factual. They don't teach you residual or passive income. The skill or the trade does not dictate the type of income that you learn. A lot of people say, well, I want to be a teacher, so I don't have a choice. That's not true. You can be a teacher and earn a passive or residual income, or both. And the same thing with any other profession. It is absolutely true, and they don't teach it in college. Okay, so to make this more pleasurable for you and getting to that question that I promised, I have a theory as to why I believe they only teach this one kind of income in college. So here it is. The government social programs, all of them, the wars, the wasteful spending that the government commits on a day-to-day basis that is just so egregiously, atrociously large and absolutely ridiculous, the bulk majority of all that crap is paid for by people who have a job. That's ordinary earned income. So, I can't prove this, but it seems to make sense. But I guess from the government's point of view, in a way, you know, it makes sense for traditional schools, college, traditional education, public education. It makes sense that the reason they only teach you how to earn ordinary earned income and keep you away from passive residual income is because you'll go out to get a job. More than likely, you will go out to get a job because that's what they teach. So why wouldn't you go out and just get a job like everyone else? And because you have a job, well, the government has its funding that it needs for the wars, the social programs, the unbelievable wasteful spending. It's all funded for by you folks, or the bulk majority of it is. So let me know what you think about that. I mean, you probably haven't thought about it that way before. Barely anybody has. But why else would they only teach you that one kind of income, the kind that actually enslaves you to the dollar? That ain't cool. I like to be free, man. And if you're working for money, you ain't free. If you have a job, I know you want to believe that you're free, but you're really not, because your money is tied to your time. And if you stop working, that money stops coming in. You're a prisoner to it, and I hate that you're a prisoner to it. And you probably do too. Most people are not happy with that idea. It's just the truth. I wasn't. I've been on that side of the fence. It kind of sucks. And my spirit soars when it's free. I bet yours would soar. Your spirit would just take you by surprise. You would probably shock yourself at the things that you would do and how great you would feel if you got to do what you love and you didn't have to think about how the bills were going to be paid, because doing what you love is no longer, or doing anything for that matter, is no longer tied to money. So now you get to spend your energy, your heart, and your soul, and your focus on creating experiences with people that you love, or by yourself, or whatever, without it being tied to money. So this is like the breakaway from being tied to money, is to start learning about a passive and residual income. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And by the way, if you really want to make that transition, it took me, it's not an overnight thing. It took me 2.5 years. Some people do it quicker, some people it takes longer. But 2.5 years it took me to make that transition from working for money to having money work for me, which is, the taxes are way better. The freedom is there. But it took me 2.5 years to make that transition. And some people say, you know, that sounds like a long time, Tom, 2.5 years. In my personal opinion, 2.5 years to retire richer than I was when I was working for that 2.5 years is the speed of light compared to working 40 years only to retire poorer than you were when you were working those 40 years. That's a pyramid scheme if I ever heard of one, and that is every job that exists, period. And I'm not saying that to put down jobs. I think if somebody loves their job, they should love it for the work that they do, the people they're with, not for the money. No, don't love college for the money that you're going to be making, because you're going to be making the worst kind of money that there is. It's going to enslave you to the money itself. And don't love your job because of the money that it gives and the false sense of security that it gives your family. Just so you know, your job, you don't own it. Somebody else owns that job. Somebody else owns your livelihood. It can be taken from you at any time. You have zero control over that asset. And when you have zero control over something, that zero control equals highest risk possible on the planet. Therefore, by default, by definition, by fact, not opinion, if you depend on your job for a livelihood, for your money, you are placing yourself and your family at the highest risk possible for losing everything. There is no security in that. I don't care what mainstream school of thought and college teaches you that it is secure. It is absolutely not. It's an insidious, unforgivable lie perpetuated by a pyramid scheme. You're not free at a job. You have zero freedom and zero security at a job. And I don't say that to insult you. Most of you don't know that. But if you have any open-mindedness whatsoever, then you can follow the logic that you don't own the asset, which is your job. Somebody else does. You have zero control over that, which means zero control, as you know, means highest risk possible. That's it. This really spun off to these other areas I wasn't planning on, but my videos are mostly impromptu, off the cuff, no script, and I think a lot of you continue to watch my videos because you know that and you enjoy it. So if you'd like some help with that transition, as I was talking about earlier, I have a 30 Days to Profit training sequence. It is the beginning of a transitional period to going from working for money and being a slave to money and just the no freedom and the no control to transitioning to freedom and having control and being the one in charge of your destiny and your future and the security of yourself and of your family. All those things. Took me 2.5 years, might take you shorter, might take you longer, but it's still the speed of light compared to 40 years only to retire poorer than you were when you were working. And if that doesn't resonate with you, then totally cool. Just keep doing what you're doing, and as long as you're happy, that's the most important thing. That's what I think. That would be an opinion. Take care, everyone. I will hear from some of you soon who want to know more about my 30 Days to Profit training sequence. And just so you know, in the spirit of full disclosure, the training is absolutely free. I don't charge anything. My group is free, but you have to purchase the materials required to make the training work. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of time, and I'm sure there's other things you could be doing with your time that's more valuable than, wasting it. So if you have no money that you can invest in getting materials to get all the free trainings to make it all work for you, then I would suggest your private message should be to ask me about my 31 ways of raising money now without having any money. And I'll give you that list. Most of them I've tried and proven by yours truly, because I used to be in that situation when I didn't have any money, but I didn't let that stop me. I did not let having no money stop me. Most people say they can't afford it, so they're not gonna whatever. As for me, I'm like, what can I do? What has to change inside of me? What can I unlock? I'm gonna make some discoveries if it kills me. And it didn't kill me, it actually set me free. So I discovered 31 ways of raising money now without having any money. I'm more than happy to share that with you if that's your starting point. If you have some money, even if it's just a measly couple $100s, that's enough to get the materials that you're going to need to take the free courses to make it all work for you. And by the way, whatever your investment is a 100% tax write-off. So even before you do anything, you get money put back into your pocket immediately from the tax savings, because the government incentivizes in investing in business. It's just the way it is. So we get rewarded. The tax code is written against employees. The tax code is written for business owners and investors. So it makes sense to make that transition. Otherwise, you can never get ahead, ever. Anyway, I will hear from some of you very soon. I look forward to it. I'm always just intensely excited to see who videos like this just lights up, and then the phone calls and the emails I get from all these awesome things that happen from from people like, a lot of friends that I have who went from these horrible places of financial ruins and self-esteem issues and all sorts of stuff to getting all that back and then some in a surplus. Money, health, wealth, freedom, the ability to give and get involved in interesting projects that helps the planet and other people in some way or another, whether it pays or not, because their time is no longer tied to money. It's a good place to be in. I'll hear from some of you real soon. Bye for now. There we go. Bye for now.